Do 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 do. Good morning, world. I hope we are all ready for next week. Hope you're all staying safe and warm out there. Inner peas, good evening, good morning. Cement shoes, morning. How are we doing this morning? Hope we had a safe, restless night. Francie, hi, Inner peas. Hi, Will. We got more snow last night. Yay. Well, I wouldn't really call it snow. It's more of like a sleet, a powdery sleet on top of the snow. Not much, but we got a little. Don't know what the weather is going to be doing today, but it's currently 30 degrees outside here where I am, outside my studio. Mostly cloudy is what it says. I haven't seen the sunlight in weeks. Hopefully, the sun comes out tomorrow. I bet your bottom dollar that tomorrow there'll be sun. All I need now is a little red wig and a little penny dress, and I'd be all set for the stage and screen, right? Baccarat, Bama cat. Kevin Brand, good morning, Kevin. Good morning from South Carolina. Hello from storming Sacramento. It's storming down there. 70 degrees where JCT is. Good morning, JCT. Bama, Bama cat. I'm guessing Bama cat is probably not a Roll Tide fan. JCT, you're not invisible. I can see you. I said good morning. I hope you are having a wonderful morning, but you're not definitely not invisible. Gayla Denson is in the house. I'm here too. Everybody grab a cup of coffee or tea. Oh, yes. I'm a Bama fan in Tennessee. All things. Roll Tide. Another day in paradise. There you go. Another day in paradise. It's all that matters. Everything is looking up. We woke up on this side of the dirt and clog, so we're all in for a great day. We make the best of it today. Ooh, Francie's having some hot chocolate. I asked my wife to get me hot chocolate from the store, and she came back with hot chocolate that has Trix cereal marshmallows in it. I've never seen that before. I mean, it's still hot chocolate. I don't need the marshmallows. Don't need to put on the weight. Need to lose the weight. Yum. Amelia, good morning. What's a Bama fan? Alabama? Bama fan? Alabama is a state here in the United States, Amelia. Alabama. So it's a southern state. So if you're looking at the map, West Coast, East Coast, or reverse, from the camera, West Coast, East Coast, it's more towards the east. College football from Alabama. There you go. Let's get into that. I think the last college football game I went and saw was Georgia Tech. I can't remember who they were playing though. I used to have like a cork board that I used to pin all my ticket stubs on. They're all the thing got broken years ago, but now I have all my ticket stubs in a like a it's not a Tupperware container. It's like one of those generic containers you get from Walmart, but it's kind of like Tupperware. But I have all my tickets in that ticket stubs. Don't you hate losing the internet? I do. Well, Francie, I do, definitely. But we're working on. Well, we lost the internet, home internet, but we're working on a plan that will come to fruition one way or another this coming week. But we're looking at adding a secondary source for internet through either our cellular company, because right now what I'm doing is I have my cell phone right here. It's actually connected to my PC, so I'm tethering the internet connection off of my cell phone. And the only way I was able to do that right now is because I had to upgrade my cellular internet, package from because I had like so much data that I could use, and then they throttled you down to almost nothing for the internet. So now I have unlimited internet, and I have unlimited, at the same level. So it's five Gs of service constantly. But still, at the same time, upload and download speed doing this it's deplorable, to say the least. But we're working on trying to find a backup plan. So because I need the internet, my wife needs it for work when she has to work from home because she works from home on Fridays. So good morning, Gemma. Obama fan from New Zealand. I have no idea about either U.S. sports. Yeah, college football. Just say that. Reichart, good morning. You made it to the stream this morning. Welcome. I hope you had a safe adventures last night on the roads of America. Scrolling up. At Just Me. Good morning, Just Me. Welcome to this morning's chat. Gathering of friends, having a cup of coffee, tea, or hot chocolate. Some people are having hot chocolate this morning. Just kicking back, saying hello. I did wake up early. Now, how was your date with Crystal? We went out to dinner. We went to a Chinese restaurant. I saved my fortune. Get my wallet out here. My fortune from last night, from my fortune cookie. It says, "You will soon be the center of attention. Look for good news." You will soon be the center of attention. Huh? Elaine Ann. Good morning. Sorry if I missed anybody. I'm still scrolling up through the comments. I hope I caught everybody. I love Chinese. Yeah, we went and had it's kind of more towards the Mandarin Chinese side of food. I had like a curry a dish. I can't remember. It had shrimp. It had octopus in it. It had onions, mushrooms. I can't remember what it's called, but it's a little on the spicier side. It's the way I like. I like a good curry dish. On a scale of 1 to 10 for good curry dishes, I'd probably put it at maybe a 5. Not the best, but not the worst. My wife loves the restaurant. She eats there so much they know her by her first name. The owner just every time we walk in, they're always like, "Hi, you back again?" Sorry for putting it in that inflection, but it's what she always says. But I can't remember what Crystal had. Some kind of like chicken dish. Then we got food to go. Now, fams, good to see you all. Hope see you again soon. Take care and be safe. You take it off, Amelia. You have a great rest of your weekend and stay safe out there. Be warm. What did Cement Shoes say? That's all right. Will, you are the center of my attention right now. Thank you. Not able to stay. I have to go mod on a different channel. Darn it. Well, Amelia, you still have a great rest of your weekend. I understand that. If you don't mind, if you're still here, tell us what channel you're modding for. I'm sure other people might have interest in that. I don't mind at all. Dawn Marie, good morning. Good morning, Dawn Marie. How are you doing? Sorry I didn't see you. Dawn Marie, just saw you on Duty Runs. Is Duty Run streaming this morning? I got the notification about talking about the Moscow 4, but that's about as far as I went yesterday. I just fixed my truck yesterday. I was broken down all week long, freezing Rapid City, South Dakota. Oh, I've been there. Not very much to do there. Yesterday was warmer though, and today and Sunday it's going to be summer here, 50 degrees. Yes. Well, I'm sorry about your truck being broke down, Rykart. Rapid City. Yeah, I've been there before. In Rapid City, they have a Moose Lodge, Loyal Order of the Moose, and I'm a Moose member. And through my adventures and traveling in the United States, one of the places that I've always stopped in is in the Moose Lodge there. So it's a really nice lodge. I'm good, Will. Always good to see you guys. Yeah, Duty Run and Ed had a short stream earlier. I'll watch it and rewind. I just didn't have time to do it this morning. I was getting set up. Will, we still need to do a collab. Yes, Gemma, we do. We definitely do. The hardest part, as we both know, is trying to find a time, that because of the time difference, when it's going to be available for us. It'd be a little bit easier if you were available during the week. But I know we all have plans. We all have things we do. Mike Stevens. Shun. Good morning, Jay Hughes. Did you get my email? I emailed you back this morning, Jay Hughes. I'm on a stuffing kick, the box stuff, like dressing. There you go. Will, did you watch Harry and Meghan on Netflix? No, Francie, I did not. I have not watched any television in probably, I'd say, maybe 3.5 weeks. The last thing I watched on Netflix was the Jeffrey Dahmer, I don't know what you call it, mini doc or whatever you want to call it, mini thing about him. I watched that, and yesterday I watched Peppa Pig with my son. He wasn't really paying attention to it. We were both sitting on the couch, and he was reading he is infatuated with Michael Jordan, the basketball player. He wrote a series of books about his life, and there's one book at the library. It's Michael Jordan's "Salt in My Shoes" is the name of the book, and he has read this book 20 times, and every time it's due, he turns it back in and he checks it back out again. I feel sorry for all the other kids at his school because he just keeps on checking the same book out over and over again. I don't know if it's the words that he is able to read, and or it's the pictures, or if it's a combination of both. But he really loves that book. He's checked out all of them, but that one is one in particular he just keeps on going back to. But he was sitting and reading the book to me, and I was kind of paying attention to him reading the book, and I was watching a little bit of Peppa Pig. I will respond when I get home. Thank you. You're welcome. Was too long? Yeah, there were parts of it that I definitely could have cut out, but I'm sure that they had to make it so long for for Netflix, so it had to be a certain length of time, of the total thing. Some of the background, and B-roll footage, if you want to call it, could have definitely been cut out of it. It was just filler. The 2001 Dahmer starting Jeremy Renner was superior. I'm gonna have to look into that one. Do you have good liquor there where I live? I don't have any liquor here per se in my studio right now. Usually I keep a bottle of whiskey back here behind me for when my friend Tim is in town, but I don't have one, and I keep on forgetting to go get one. We have here in the state where I live, we used to have liquor stores. You couldn't go in just anywhere and buy liquor, and then a the law was changed to make liquor stores available to certain businesses that already had liquor license to sell them, mainly grocery stores and not supermarkets, but smaller mom and pop stores. So now the liquor stores are completely gone, and now you can't go to 7-Eleven and buy Jack Daniels here, but you can go to certain independent mini marts and buy everything there, or you have to go to a supermarket to buy it. In this area, per se, where I live, they make some extraordinary wines. They're right up there with award-winning wines with wines from around the world, because we're on the same parallel line, equator line as like France, and the grapes, for what they grow. They do they do make an American version. I know it's not technically champagne. It's considered champagne, but it's also a bubbling wine, or whatever you call it. I'm not much of a wine drinker, but we do have good alcohol. Well, I'm more available during the week now, as I'm unable to work. Well, Gemma, fire me an email, and let me know, sweetheart, when you have availability. I would love to do something this week if you have the time. You know, um, my availability, is any time after, say, 9. Well, I'll just say 10 o'clock. I was gonna say a little bit before that, but 10 p.m. my time, up until about 1 o'clock in the afternoon would be the best, between those 3 hours, 4 hours, period of time. I'm more available Monday through Friday. I saw Gacy on Netflix. That man had many chances to be good. Man, instead, because he was married twice and had two wives and the children that loved him, but he chose to be an evil man instead. Hmm. Interesting, right, Kurt? Gacy. Could John Wayne Gacy have been a good man and not the serial killer psychopath that he was, and Pogo the clown, individual? Yeah, I mean, on some level, he definitely could have been, a better man, a good man. I don't know. 5 Alarm Freak Show. I think there's more to Gacy's murders. I wish I could send Gacy back in time to deal with Carl Penn's. There's probably something to that, Mike. Um, I there. It's hard to say because when it becomes when you look at the Gacy's actual murders, you have to. We don't know how the interactions in the beginning part and how he got them to his home, or he got them in his circle so he could control them. We don't know how that really happened. We can only take Gacy's word for it, and he's going to give a narrative of that. If he did it or if he had some help or anything else, that's going to be his narrative. And he always wanted people to look at him as the biggest, toughest, meanest son of a bitch out there, but innocent. He wanted everybody to think that he was innocent. In all the interviews with the FBI, he sat and he was like, "No, they made up all this stuff. They were following me. I knew they were there. I'm smarter than them." He always wanted the people to play off that way. But was there possibly ever someone who worked with him? I think there's a possibility that he at least had somebody. Maybe he killed them later on, but maybe he had somebody who was helping him lure young men to him or bring them to him so he could do what he wanted with them. He was away during some of the murders. Hmm. I'm not familiar with that. Robbing, get you the Chicago Ripper crew. I had a trivia question about the Chicago Ripper crew last week. Possibly. Lots of emojis in today's chat. Cherry, smiling face, and heart. Oh. Oh, what's this one? Is that a croissant, thumbs up, and a strawberry? Okay. Good morning, cement shoes and running shoes. Da da da. Yeah, that's the thing about serial killers, and spree killers like that. You know, they when they're caught, and if they are willing to talk, they always want to, you know, they want to talk about what they did. I mean, you can't even take but maybe 20% of what Bundy said about his life as truthful. Because if you came to him and you were looking for a certain narrative, he would play to that narrative hardcore. Because Bundy always wanted to research anybody he talked to. If you were looking for a connection between pornography and serial killers, Bundy was your man because he would talk to you for hours about how he became addicted to pornography, and that is the reason why he killed all those women. If you were looking for a connection between, child abuse and serial killers, Bundy would talk to you for hours about the abuse that he received as a child, and him being a serial killer. But see, that's the thing is a lot of serial killers, and spree killers are like that. Is they have a narrative that they want to stick to, and then later on they're free to change their mind if we don't execute them yet. But I think some of the most interesting serial killers ever, um, top of my list would be Ed Kemper. Um, Dennis Rader, is got to be in the top five. Uh, I don't find Bundy interesting or Gacy interesting. Dahmer, I find interesting to kind of like a morbid level, and how he, felt the connection. I always wanted to learn why he felt that connection with, his victims, and but I put Dahmer in the top five, and also in the top five, maybe Gary Ridgway. Ridgway is fascinating on a completely different level. And if you don't know a lot about Gary Ridgway and his crimes and what he did, I suggest reading up on him or watching some things. But you have to remember when people make movies about serial killers or TV shows about them, they they tend to go to a large extent into hyping it up to draw in the viewer. They expand on what would might have been just a small little part of their life. They expand on it because it's easier to document. So Bella Goodness is fascinating. Was my favorite. Then Gacy. Ooh, somebody making snickerdoodles? Are you making snickerdoodles in her peas? Oh, Gayla. Is Gayla making snickerdoodles? Am I ready for Christmas, Francie? No. But the way that I celebrate Christmas is different from everybody else, and there's no right or wrong way. It all depends upon how you want to celebrate it. To me, Christmas is another family gathering. It's not so much about gifts, although I will buy a lot of gifts for my son and spoil him absolutely rotten because just what I do. I mean, I do it during the rest of the year. Why would Christmas be any different? But it's when you're younger, it's about receiving gifts, and at least in my family, and older people within the family, myself now, I put myself in that age group. It's about giving. I don't look at it that way anymore. It's a celebration of family, and enjoying the time that we have left, and because a lot of my family members are, I mean, they're in their 70s and 80s and 90s now, you know, so that's more important to me. You find it overwhelming? Yeah, Gemma, we actually purposely don't we don't put like blinking lights, or anything like that on the Christmas tree or anywhere in the house. We do have lights that we do display on the Christmas tree, but they're a solid. And nor do we put them on the house anywhere because my son does suffer from, he has sensory issues, and he does get overloaded, sensory wise from flashing lights. We keep music, and stuff to a off completely, or to a minimum. You have to find an area and a time with where you feel at ease. So I can totally understand being feeling overwhelmed from it. Hubby's at work. Dahmer did all they did in a little apartment surrounded by neighbors. Don't forget, Dahmer used to make sandwiches and feed his neighbors too. Yeah, that's a true fact. Are these guys born evil? Then Will, is it in their DNA? I know you're not a psychiatrist, but it's just a topic question. Reichardt, is it in their DNA? Um, from my experience, from what I know, now I'm that all I can give you is my knowledge on it. There has never been a proven correlation between DNA and those who go out and become serial killers. There are people that are more have a larger disposition to be violent. That they have made some connection, DNA wise that way. But a lot of it comes down to the early part of education and support that a child has. So if they find that they okay, this child has more of a disposition because of family history, and maybe there's a mood imbalance or something along those lines that makes them more aggressive than other kids. We can with that, not without medication. Some people have always tried to throw medication at every issue, but they can look at it and say, okay, what we can do for this child in this situation is structure things around them that are more supportive and support the positive behavior. It's a learning experience. Now, when it comes to Bundy, Gacy, Ridgway, um, Rader, Ed Kemper, all five of them, of those serial killers, had abuse in their early adolescence. They were either emotionally abused, or physically abused, or sexually abused. Some of them had all three. And when you go through something like that, at such a young age, it definitely affects how you move forward, and especially if no intervention is ever made, to stop the abuse or to fix, or help the child along because of the abuse, and that really messes with a kid, and we're surprised that they end up, where they are. Um, look at Ed Kemper for instance. His mother was absolutely cruel to him, growing up, telling him that and locking him in the basement of the house because she was afraid he was going to harm his sisters. But she started doing that when he was just a young kid, and it didn't matter. As he got older and he got bigger, she definitely made him stay in the basement. And the only thing he ever had in the basement in his room was just a bed. He wasn't allowed to have toys. So even there's nothing to play with. There's nothing to stimulate him anything. No books, nothing. It was just a bed. And obviously that's wrong, and it really messed him up. But and then at every moment he got out of the basement, he just threw himself into education and learning and reading, and he could have definitely went a different direction, but he made a choice just to go one way. At some point though, as a young adult, and as an adult, you have to be held responsible for what you do. If I decide to go, become a serial killer tomorrow, I have to be held responsible for what I decide. I can't look at my past and say, you know what, I had a really shitty past, so I'm just gonna go kill people for fun. Although that would be an interesting YouTube channel. Hmm. Are serial killers sociopaths or psychopaths or neither? I don't know. We'll look that up. I mean, that's all these are. There's psychology textbooks. We'll see what the textbook says. I mean, the worst that we can do is look it up, right? Index. Here we go. What's it say? Bear with me while I do this. I looked up serial killer. It says look up killers and homicide. Oh wow, there are serial sexual killers too. Didn't know that. Excuse me. Okay. Reference index. Oh boy, that might be a lot longer of a question than what we have time for. Motivations. But just taking serial killers out of it, then it goes into motivations. Um, Motivations for each behavior. So it breaks it down by motivational theories, psychological theories, rewarding and competency, um, hierarchy, reduction theory, biological theories. So 408. Let's see what it says on a 408 for biological to see if there's any connection to biological to answer that question first. Or 05, 407, 408. Theories and concept of motivation of serial killers. There are 6 major theories and motivations that fall into the general categories of biological, psychological, and biosociological. See table 12.1. As we discuss the theories, as you see, then it says please see expanded, which I don't have. I don't have the study guide for that. For the reason to explain why. Explains your reason for why one party may be a instinct driven reduction arousal theories, instinct theories for serial killers. A study of 10,000 human instincts by Bernard in the 1920s. The instinct is unscientific to explain if there's any. Oh, it actually says there is it is unscientific to find an actual cause of DNA linking any type of serial sexual disorder and or serial killers. So there's no DNA connection between DNA and a serial killer. Are they sociopaths, psychopaths, or none of them? To answer that question, um, every this I know this the answer to this that part of the question. Uh, every single serial killer has shown one of the traits. They have never been. You can't just say that that person is a sociopath, that person is a psychopath, because a lot of serial killers have refused to be diagnosed or sit down with an actual professional and be professionally diagnosed. But from the outside looking in on serial killers, they do check off boxes, but they may not just be a sociopath. They may be a sociopath with narcissistic personality disorder, or bipolar, or something else on top of that from the mental health standpoint. So to answer the question, are they sociopaths, psychopaths, or neither? It's hard to say. Um, and those that we have been able to study in psychology, that like the Ed Kempers of the world, he's mastered lying to people and knowing what the questions are and the answers are to those questions. The Ted Bundys of the world, that he was a master manipulator. So he manipulated anything and anybody who ever tried to talk to him about his past and about his crimes. But we can check off certain boxes. We know that Bundy was definitely a narcissist, but he also had a strong traits as being a sociopath, because he was unable to show emotion or connection towards other people, and that was obvious throughout his crime spree. But at the same time, he says he truly loved the mother of his daughter. He says that. I mean, but people can say that they love people, but at the same time, the individual cannot truly feel the emotions of and pain, gratitude, anger, happiness. You can't express those emotions or feel those emotions. So, and even his smirking face in court, which somebody I can't remember said that didn't like his smirk in court. He did that for show. That he was trying to elicit a response from the world out there. He wanted people to fear him and what he did, and where that there might be other people out there like him. So that I hope that answers your question. Good morning, Short and Ice. I hope you had a wonderful night. Get some restful sleep. And there is Meep Meep. No, Bundy's ashes were spread in the Cascade Mountains. His daughter received none of his actual ashes. I can't. They don't. All right, the FBI, former FBI agent who spread his ashes, I believe it was. I can't remember who it was exactly. Somebody out there probably knows. But they wouldn't say where they actually spread his ashes. But no one got any of Bundy's ashes. Believe me, if his ashes were around somewhere, they would go for so much money. It's ridiculous that anybody, first off, would want to buy them, but they would go for so much money on the memorabilia market out there. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. But you'd have to be able to prove the provenance of that they really are his. I'm back. Good morning, Purple. I'd buy them. There are a lot of people out there that they've made careers out of trading and selling and buying murder memorabilia. It's a completely subsection. They have conventions about it. Murder memorabilia. The one time that I went to CrimeCon, there were people who had booths that were set up that were talking about just their trading and selling platforms for murder memorabilia. You could buy everything from a handkerchief that was owned by a serial killer and used by that serial killer. They had and people labeled this stuff and they put it up in frames in their homes and their offices. It's truly bizarre to me, but there are people out there that are like that, and just like people who collect sports cards or anything else, they don't see anything wrong with it. It's just memorabilia of a famous person or a famous action or whatever it might have been. Sam I am. Good morning, Sam I am. It's 420 somewhere. Yeah, it is, Gayla. I'm glad I've chosen the one took care of the monster Jeffrey Dahmer in inside prison. Amen to prison justice. Never prosecuted. They know exactly who did it. The guard wasn't prosecuted. Nothing. Nobody, had to answer for that one. Arctic fox, because Bieber. My leave it to Bieber. Good morning, pretty camel, all the way from the other side of the United States of America, way up there. Just look at what things from 9/11 sell for. Big money. Oh yeah, yeah. I hate to bring it up, but the man who in video could be seen, jumping from one of the towers as the flames came towards his floor. Yeah, I know his shoes or one of his shoes is out there on the memorabilia market. I ran across a listing for it, or somebody was talking about it on another forum. They probably bought him pizza. I don't know if they bought him pizza, but they definitely didn't follow up on it. They were just like, well, no, it was going to happen. Red Bull Coffee and Crime, Arctic Fox. True Crime on panel with cement shoes and new channel. I have Arctic Fox written down to check out their content, but I haven't had a chance to as of yet. Been pretty busy, trying to keep up with the what I have been covering. But I'm going to get to it this week. Got a lot less on my schedule this week. Rat poison. They probably had a pool going on how long it would take. Probably. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all. Where was I, Francie? Where was I on 9/11? I was out on the ocean, salmon fishing. A company, my buddy's company, who I worked for at the time, he every year he sends all the guys from the plant and all the managers. He pays for a vacation for everybody, and then all the ladies in the office. It doesn't matter, he says, okay, here's three different um, uh, vacation plans. And that year it was either go to Las Vegas, and he paid for it all, the hotel, the food, gave you a certain amount of money to gamble with, do whatever you want. That was option one. Option two was go on a charter boat and go salmon fishing. And this is like a big operation, not like a little boat. And you catch the salmon, and they cut it up and they freeze pack it in packages, and then you take it home. You get your own cooler and everything to take the fish home with. And that was package number two, and he pays for the hotel, the food, the lodging, the transportation. All of it's paid for, every package. And then the third package was to go to Disneyland or some kind of resort like that. He'd pay for you and your family to go and for lodging, but you were on their own for any kind of expenses other than that. So half of the group went to Las Vegas, and they were in Las Vegas on 9/11. I was off the coast, up by Bellingham, Washington, which is right near the Canadian border. I was off salmon fishing that day. We came ashore, with the charter boat, and we got to the dock, and we were walking up to our truck, company truck that we drove all the way there, and they were unloading the coolers of fish that we had caught into the back of the truck, and then we were going to go to a Denny's, which is across the street from the parking lot. And we walked into Denny's, and there was nobody there. The place was empty. There were cars in the parking lot, but there was nobody there. And there was a sign on the where the register like little thing was. It said, please help yourself. Leave money on counter. That's what the note said. And there was nobody in the place anywhere. So we walked into the bar, got our own beers, sat there, tried to figure out how to turn the TVs and stuff on, turn the TVs on, and that's when we found out about the 9/11 attack. And then they showed, people freaking out. We tried using our cell phones, but none of them worked because all the cell lines were just jammed, you know, full of people calling. That's where I was on 9/11. I was working in New York City Public Hospital, waiting for patients that never came in. I lived in New York City, as well. Good morning, Amy. I hope you are having a wonderful morning. Thank you for joining us this morning. And I know people that were in New York, and unfortunately, I also know somebody who died in Tower Number Two. He never made it out. He was actually there on business. He worked in New York in Tower Number Two. He was like a hedge fund company is what he worked for. I think that's what you call them, investment fund. And he worked in New York and in Tower Number Two part of the year, and then the rest of the year he worked in Minneapolis. It just happened to be that he died, in Tower Number Two when it came down. I don't think they ever found all of his remains, but fortunately. But I know other people who lived in New York at the time of 9/11, and cross our fingers, that nothing like that ever happens again. But I don't know where the future's going. I don't want it to happen. I hope it doesn't happen. But just like we after Oklahoma City bombing, and Timothy McVeigh, homegrown terrorist. We all hope that nothing like that would ever happen again. And it hasn't been the first time, and it hasn't been the last time. And going into the future, the way people will realize that they can get their name and notoriety, and people will talk about their cause afterwards. All it does in the end is eventually, make other people want to do it. Unfortunately, that's the truth. It's just like the school shootings. You know, you had some school shootings, and then others found out that they could get their 15 minutes of fame through doing the same thing. So they just copycatted, what would already been done. I worry about getting bombed by North Korea. I wouldn't worry about being bombed by North Korea. I would be more worried about the alien faction that is here in America. And I'm talking about homegrown terrorists, people who are out there on the fringes of society who believe that the government that we have, installed right now, no longer serves a purpose or is needed to be there. Look no further than the January 6th insurrection of the Capitol. You can look at it all you want. You can say it's a peaceful protest, but people died in it, and the entire goal was to overthrow government and insert somebody else who rightfully shouldn't be there. That's the facts. But again, those people who are on that far of a fringe of society, Those are the people I'd worry about. Not so much North Korea. If they're going to bomb anybody, it's going to be somebody in, in their area, in the southern rim. You live for today. That's what you should do. Will, what do you think about the Idaho 4? Hmm. Idaho 4. Interesting case. Matter of fact, it was the entire, pretty much the conversation of dinner last night with my wife. The two of us, we always say, we go on these date nights, we're never going to talk shop. But that's all we ended up doing was talking shop last night while we were eating. But I don't really want to say what I think is the possibility in that. Um, I don't think there's any connection between the car that they're looking for now and the person who did the crime. If I was somebody who was looking for the murder in the Idaho 4, I would look into who they interacted with in the previous days, not maybe directly, but the taco truck guy. It's just a herring there. There's no connection there. This would have been somebody who had been watching them or one of them for some time. I would look for somebody who he's most likely been interviewed or the police have already spoken with him and they don't think that he is someone to worry about. That's who I would think, you should really pay attention to. And he probably is somebody who is originally from the Moscow, Idaho, or right about there, in location. He knows the area very well. I mean, that's just my thought on it. I mean, it's a tragic, death, of four young lives that were taken way too early. I think it's someone that they know, or have come across. Well, that's pretty much what I'm saying, Sam. It's somebody. I don't want to say it's not a friend. It's definitely not that. It's someone that they've interacted with. Could it be somebody from one of the frat houses? No, I don't think it is. I think it's someone from maybe they've interacted with at either a sandwich shop, a bar, a grocery store, something like that. It's if think about just a general day of you running errands and doing living your day-to-day life. How many people do you have very minimal communication with, contact with, out there and that you don't know? Those are the people that you really should be paying attention to in this case, not in your life, but in this case. I think it's somebody who's just right there on the outskirts of their circle. Either they know somebody who knew them, or it was somebody that they had very minimal. It could have been the barista at the coffee shop who had has a infatuation with two of them, and then the other two were just unfortunately in unintended victims. Maybe a drug deal gone wrong because they called Jack over and over and sent a Venmo payment at 3:30. I have a pork roast in the slow cooker. Oh my God, it smells so good. That's cool. So Pretty and Camo, did your silent live stream, did it help at all? I mean, there were at sometimes I was watching it and I was in there pretty much by myself for a good extended time. But then there were a couple other people who popped in and left who didn't. One other person commented, but I was like, okay, did that help? Like, you bring your watch hours up? I don't think it's about drugs, but that's just my own opinion, though. I know the Moscow, Idaho area very well. I went to college right across the state line from Moscow. The University of Washington State University is right here. Moscow is right here. Um, since I went to college there, you can't really tell where one city ends and the other one starts. There's a little bit of farm field in between them, but a lot of it is gone. And if you actually look at it, the Washington State University is more like a kidney shape, and the University of Idaho is like this, and the highway that goes in between them is like that. So if you actually take this point and this point, it's very close to each other, where one starts and the other one stops. I mean, I know exactly where that house is, not by the address, but I know where that area is, right next to the university. I know how far the businesses are to that. There used to be a really good bar there that was called the Sputnik. It used to be a really good bar, and it was right on the main strip in Moscow. Last time I was there was last year. I was there for a golf tournament. We played at the Palouse Open, I think they called it. It's like an amateur and professional golf tournament. Have I been to Alaska, Francie? Once. Not for very long. I would love to go there, not in the winter time, but maybe like fall, but or summer maybe. I don't know about summertime. The bugs there are pretty awful. My friend works outside of Juneau right now. He's building cabins up there, and I have another friend who works up on the oil pipeline. But I think he's home for the year. I think he goes back in a couple of months. You got to go, Gayla. You have a great day today. I'm going to be taking off here as well, ladies and gentlemen. I personally freaked out on drugs. Would be a probable left evidence. Whoever did this was careful. Elaine Ann, very true there. Yes. Um, when it comes to the Idaho 4, and you have to just keep this in context, though. For what information we know about the murder itself, and the same thing could be said for Richard Allen in the Delphi case as well. The information that we know publicly out here about both of those cases is very little. They don't want to release the information to everyone. They don't want the stuff getting out because it would, definitely contaminate the case against the individual in Richard Allen in the Delphi case, and in this case, whoever it is that they haven't caught yet. Maybe they know who it is. Maybe they're looking for that one extra piece, that eyewitness who can put him, near the home, or maybe there's a fingerprint or something, inside the house itself that they know of, or hair or something. There could be very well something like that, but they're not going to tell us. Right? Not. I mean, we wouldn't know about it until the case, starts or his case is over with. If they don't seal it or something like that. But you just have to kind of let these things take their course, and just remember to keep an open mind. And on everybody who is out there talking about like the Idaho 4 and Delphi and everything else, keep in mind that a lot of people are speculating on what is factual, and some people are inserting things into that narrative as well that are not factual, that they're guessing at, but they're talking to you or telling you as if it is the facts and that it's been it's a document or evidence. So you have to keep an open mind on where you get your information from. Okay, everyone. Thank you again. You all have a wonderful week, rest of your weekend and week ahead. I thank everyone again for being here. for hanging out with us on Saturday morning, having a cup of coffee, tea, or hot cocoa, as some people are today. And I hope that you all stay safe and warm out there. Until next time, peace.